تمسك بحبل الله واتبع الهدى ولا تك بدعيا لعلك تفلح ودن بكتاب الله والسنن التي أتت عن رسول الله تنجو.
Burying their nose in cell phones and computers, and they don't know how to talk to adults. They don't know how to go to the bank and make a deposit. They don't know how to order food at the restaurant.
What do you think, since you brought up like suicides, people being lost throughout your lifetime, what would you say like purpose of life is? What have you learned? Like, yeah, how would you answer that?
If somebody were to ask me what is the purpose of life, for me it's unanswerable. I don't want to have to define my life as having a purpose. Now, other people might say, I want to get married, I want to have children, I want to live the American dream, a house with a white fence around it, and I want my children to grow up. I want to see my grandkids. I don't have any of that anymore. I don't care about having kids, grandkids. I don't care about marriage.
At some point earlier you did. At some point you did, or no? Never too high up on the list.
For a very short period of indoctrination. And they said, don't get married. You have no independence, and if you have kids, you're tied down, to that until they're 18 years old or whatever it is. And for me, I'm the type of guy, and I've heard so many stories, like one Latin friend of mine is a good-looking guy, he's got a good body, and he's such a responsible person. He works for a living, and he got married. The girl gained 100 pounds. She doesn't do anything. They have 2 daughters. He comes home, he has to do the cooking for the little daughters, take them to school. She just sits up on her phone all day, talking to girlfriends, eating and watching TV. That's her life. And I said, why don't you divorce the bitch? What are you doing? And he says, I'm not that type of guy, but it might end up that way. My daughters need a mother. But I said, they're not getting a mother. They're getting a fat pig that is not responsible.
You reminded me of, there are people that believe like in a certain way of life, right? Like where people have their rights. Let's see, husband and wife have rights. They believe in a certain way of life, like people who are religious per se. What do you think about them? Like where they follow a certain structure? Not humans have choice, right? But they follow the structure that they should be, right, doing. Did you ever study or learn any religion?
Well, studying doesn't do anything.
You never got into learning anything?
No, it's not. It's never.
Did you ever study or learn any religion?
Well, studying doesn't do anything.
You never got into learning anything?
No, it's not. It's never. When I was being raised.
Oh, your parents?
Yeah, my father was killed at a very early age. So, and my mother, I never got along with my mother, and she alienated my father against me. I started to value, and I thought, what did I do?
Yeah.
I was that middle child. There was 4 boys, and I thought, my family was very successful. There was a lot of money involved. I was raised in a big mansion. I had everything except, you know what I got?
Sure.
Nothing. My brothers got stuff.
Oh, as far as materials, I thought you were going more toward values, like or family values, as in were your parents? Did they feel like a family?
No,
Yeah.
not to me.
A lot of people go through.
not to me. It was, you do what we tell you. And that didn't jive with me.
And so they didn't really believe in God. No, they didn't follow any religion.
I don't know if they believed it. I guess they did.
Mm.
I don't know, not that religious.
Maybe not practicing it.
No. And I respect people that are religious or whatever.
Yeah.
Some of it seems very far-fetched to me.
Which one would you say is the most that seems far-fetched? Which one of? I mean, there being so many, or the biggest ones. What? Yeah, Judaism, right? Islam, Christianity.
Anything to do with the Christian faith sounds good. I was raised in a Jewish home, and I just saw hypocrisy.
What do you think about the main, like, I don't know, what would you say, doctrine or Judaism? Like, if you're not born right, if your blood is not Jewish, then you're not part of the chosen people, right?
I think that's complete and utter bullshit.
Because it really doesn't make sense, right? That only a certain people, right? It's almost like a racist ideology in a way, right? Like, if there is a God, shouldn't it be universal for all peoples, right? That's one reason I would reject that part.
Yeah, to me, it's a complete crap.
Yeah.
And
the part though where like, okay, let's follow trying to be righteous.
yeah.
There's parts of it that make sense, right? Like the morality to it, right? Just as you were speaking here, right? People with bad attitudes, you respect them, they don't respect you, right? So part of it I would agree with, but there are things that is like, if there is a just, all-loving God, then it couldn't be, right? If there was a loving, all-loving, just God, then it wouldn't just be for a certain people, right? I would say it's universal, you know.
Well, I mean, we're putting what they call anthropomorphic points of view on the religion thing. Anthropomorphic means things that are based around the human element. You know, we say God has created us in His image. Do you know that? Who are you to tell me that?
Oh, so you don't believe in the books themselves? That they are...
No, I don't.
Okay.
I mean, it's nice reading and some great stories and some great philosophy. Who are you to tell me that?
So
You know, I think religion has been used as a controlling thing to control people. And okay, if you want to be in that control group, that's up to you. I don't fault you for it, but don't fault me if I'm not that interested in it.
what if God reveals, for those who believe, what if God reveals a perfect book, but it's the people using it to their own way? But then humans still have a choice, right? Is it possible that the book could be right, but it's people turning it into something else?
Perhaps.
Right? So then, like, it's like we can't reject. I don't know, do you believe there's a creator or not?
I'm not rejecting anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just laying back and saying, look, if there is the God out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just laying back and saying, look, if there is the God out there.
Yeah.
So I try to do the right thing. And
But the right. How would we know what God wants from you? You don't. I guess.
how would you know anyway?
No, so you really don't believe in the scripture then? Any book? Because there's some that may say, hey, look, there's a book, never been tampered with, historic, I don't know, research. If you read it for yourself, there's no contradictions, no mistakes, no errors.
Well, who wrote that book?
If they were to say, this is what I hear, right? If they were to say God, angel, prophet, companions of the prophets. But let's say you are to read it and you benefit everything from it, no contradiction.
Benefiting
from it?
Wonderful.
But I guess you haven't. you haven't come across something like it, right? Because it's Bible tampered, right? Like misconstrued, and there's good and evil people, right?
Yeah, well, why must you do that to me? Why must I hurt you as a person?
But this is why I believe that people will pay for what they did here eventually. And the ones who do good, do you believe people they'll be good and bad or not?
I don't know.
Yeah.
How does anybody? How can you believe or not believe? But if you leave the potential open, and then it makes you or allows you to make better judgments, if that's how you will adjust your life, that's
Better
good.
judgment.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. If it works for you, let it work. But look at all the ministers that preach, and then they go and they hire a hooker down the street. You know.
I think a lot of them, or like the pastors, supposedly they're not to be married, right? They don't. And then you're going against your natural way. Like you're gonna find a way somehow. Where there's rapings and.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. All I know is that
But
let me do, and we all make mistakes, but let me do as little mistakes as possible. Try to use my judgment, good judgment. Try to be responsible. Treat my fellow man as well as I can.
But see, the question gets to be: is humanity better off with guidance or without guidance? Because without guidance, humans can be at loss, right? So is it better to have guidance and prevent things, trouble, or
Doesn't prevent anything.
no?
Look at all the wars. Look at the Sunnis and the Shiites. They're the same people, and then one believes one version of their Bible, and the other one believes the other version, and they kill each other, chop each other's head. The most violent deaths imaginable. It's not that they hurt people, but they kill you.
But these are the people's choices. How do we know which one is correct? Unless we read. If we were to read, then we know what to distinguish. Okay, who's doing wrong, right? Because humans are always gonna whoever does wrong, they're going to hell.